And welcome back to another Wednesday show
Yo,
of the Stone and Crane Show. Man, it's, it's going up Wednesday, but we're doing this late Tuesday night because I got some things I gotta do Wednesday. So keep on schedule.
uh,
We will be doing this pre-recording this week. Usually we do them the Wednesday day of, and I post them a couple hours after we record them.
mhm.
But doing this one a little different. Um,
Yeah,
Kyle, what are we talking about this week?
now we do some Spider-Man chats, man. Do some rankings on some Spider-Man film stuff. Do the films list on which ones where we think they rank, and then we'll do the villains of those films.
Yeah,
So I think that'll be fun, man. It's gonna be a fun one to see where
yeah,
we both kind of have some of these at.
for sure. Uh, Going on, as we said, just one of the most iconic superheroes, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Um,
he's amazing, man. Literally.
by Stanley was incredible, and Steve Ditko, uh, the artist behind Spider-Man as well. I know his name always gets left out. It
Yeah,
seems like,
yeah, always.
but both of them made this character so amazing, so relatable, yet so amazing.
Yeah, he
So
literally is the amazing Spider-Man, man.
he sure freaking is.
Yeah.
So we'll get into we're sticking with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I guess actually the one film is
No, the
about
one's Miles.
Miles. So
Yeah.
let me pull up for you guys at home. At home, watch wherever the fuck you are.
Yeah.
For you guys watching on screen, I meant to say, we got the tiers list right now. I got everything at the bottom right now. We will be trying to figure out. Do you want to? So there is 7 movies here. Do you want to
Mhm.
put them in order, 7 like this, or are you okay with kind of putting some on the same level?
No, I think we put them some on the same level because I really don't think the thing with Spider-Man in most of these movies, I really only think there's one bad one.
Okay.
You know, I think out of all of them, there's one that I don't really like, and I think we'll probably both agree on that, and that's Spider-Man 3. I'm not sure how you feel about it,
Yeah.
and it's not anything against Tobey Maguire or the acting that's really in it. I just feel like they try to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
So on my list, I have it in the bad mark, but the rest of them, man, are I have it pretty randomized up there. So I don't know if you want to start with just Spider-Man 1.
Yep. That's. I was just kind of ordering them down here. So yeah, let's
Yeah,
go with the 2002 Spider-Man,
yeah,
directed by Sam Raimi.
yeah.
Um,
Go Sam Raimi, man.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Oh man, I don't know. Obviously, at 2002, I was 4 years old. I don't remember when I first saw this movie. I'm sure I saw it probably at home, through a DVD player or something.
mm-hmm.
Um, but God, I've seen this movie so many times now at this
Oh
point,
yeah,
and it still holds up.
yep,
Mainly because of how much actual film directing they did versus going with what CGI was back then, which seems hard watching all those older, especially the older 2000 movies that have a lot of CGI. They don't;
yeah,
those haven't aged very well. So
mm-hmm.
this movie, which did not use very much of it, has. I mean, there's some goofy moments in it,
Sure,
definitely, but I think with what they were trying to accomplish, they succeeded quite well,
yeah, yeah.
and I
It's
think it holds up
fantastic.
very well. So
Yeah, it's almost 20 years old, man, and it's still to this day. You just said it just holds up. You can watch it right now. You can have a young kid watch it, and I don't think they'd be able to tell you that it was an old movie.
yeah,
Just how well it's made and how good
yep,
it's. Everyone, all the actors in it just crush it. So I mean,
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire. I remember where I seen this. I seen it in theaters. Um, I went with some friends and stuff. We went, and at this time there wasn't a whole lot of superhero stuff out. You had some weird stuff like Blade was a thing,
Yep.
and you had some random things like that. Punisher, of course, but we didn't have anything like Spider-Man. Of course we had Batmans and Supermans, but we didn't have like this
Those
fun.
Batmans were gross.
I mean, you had the Tim Burton, the good Batmans, right?
Oh
You had the
yeah, I
Tim
guess
Burton
so.
Batman, stuff like that. But then you had the bad Batmans, right? Which
Yep.
were still kind of fun, but they weren't very good.
No.
But then you had like the Blades, the Blade movies were the first two were really good. But then you didn't have anything like this. And then I remember when it came out, man, we went to see it in theaters, and the audience like this is the first time I was in a movie where the audience like applause, like it was loud, like after it was over with, because everyone was like amazed by how good it was. And yeah, yeah, it's so good, man. It's such a great movie. I have it ranked in amazing. Is where I have it.
Amazing.
Amazing, yeah. That's where I have it. I don't know where
And
you have it.
I'm gonna knock it down to good for one
You're gonna knock it
reason
out.
and one reason only. Spider-Man ain't facing no green Power Ranger.
Yeah, the William Dafoe Green Goblin is a little weird, right?
So William Dafoe, as Osborn, not the Green
Amazing.
Goblin, is amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
it is perfect.
His that mirror scene with him in the mirror
Oh my god,
is so good, man.
still gives some
He's
chills,
so good.
man.
Yeah, William Dafoe is so great, man. Yeah, I'll go with you on
I
that. I
feel
can
like they
understand where
lost.
you are.
Yeah, I feel like they lost a lot of it with.
You put the wrong one up, by the way.
Did I? Yeah, this is the second one, isn't it?
Yes, that one.
But
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
it was a good movie. Maybe back in 2002 it was an amazing movie. Obviously, in 2002 I do agree it would be an amazing movie. But standards with the rest of these movies, going forward, I have it at good, which
Yeah.
that's where we're putting it. You don't have control over my mouse, so that's where it's going.
No, I won't argue with that one. I won't argue with you on that one.
And I make fun. That's not the only reason. As I said, it is a bit of a funny movie.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting parts to it, but
Yeah.
moving on, Spider-Man 2
Yeah.
came out just 2 years later.
Yep.
Again, at this point, I was still only 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam Raimi obviously came back to
Yeah.
direct it. It was.
This one, in my opinion, is it's the best of the best. It's the best one out of all of them.
You think it's the best one?
In
think.
my opinion, I
Yeah.
feel like it's.
I will
it's-
agree that I do think it has the best villain out of just about any of these Spider-Man movies that we're going to
Best
talk
villain,
about.
best acted, best
It was
screenplay. I loved everything
Heartbreaking,
about
man.
it. Yeah, best.
To watch
Oh man,
Doctor, for I guess people that don't
Yeah.
know, Doc Oct, or he goes by a couple different names. Dr. Octopus. Yeah, I like
Doc
calling him
Ock.
Doc Op.
Doc
sounds
Ock,
better.
yeah.
Sounds better than Dr. Octopus. But man, you really felt for him. They did a great job at one of these situations, creating a villain out of a good person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because he was a regular guy, right? He was working on a machine, and he was Dr. Otto Octavius, right? And
Yep.
he put this thing that's just like almost all the other same stories, right? It just is his machine to help him do things gets attached to his spine, and he ends up going psycho in the movie, right? And
Yep.
he loses his wife in the process of building this machine. Spider-Man's there to help save everybody, of course. But it's just, man, it's really well done. The plot and the story, everything about that movie is just, you talk about holding up and how the first one holds up. This one to me is, I still feel like if you were to put it up against any of the modern stuff as far as plot goes and acting, all of them down to James Franco.
I'm about to say you haven't even talked about Harry Osborn yet. in this
Right.
one.
Yeah, dude. And then all the way through it, it's just, and then Kirsten Dunst, how amazing she is in this one, which I feel like a better role, and just, yeah, it's really good, man. Just, I have it high just because of how well it was, everything about it. That's where and then, of course, for me, the sentimental value is a little bit there too, because once again, not a lot of superhero movies at the time. And then I feel like I hold every Spider-Man to this movie and to Tobey Maguire's performance in this film. Yeah. So everything that comes out to me has to meet the quality of this film. For Spider-Man's at least. So.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I definitely. Yeah. It's been a couple years since I've seen it. But, man, from what I remember, oh my God. We didn't even talk about Jonah Jameson and how great of a freaking...
Oh, God, he crushes it every
Oh, my God. Like, you can't think of anybody else ever playing that character again. I am so happy they brought him back for the new Spider-Man series. Yes, it is great.
Well, that movie has one of the best scenes in it too. The train scene. The train's about to run off the tracks.
Oh yeah.
He literally shoots, hundreds of webs trying to save it. Runs out, stops it, and then they carry his mask's off, right, and they carry him up through them. And they set him down, and then Doc Ock comes through. And they're all like, they step in front of him, and they're like, "You got to go through us," right? And like the people defended him and stuff. That's what I was talking about, like the writing of it. It's just so good, man. So yeah. And sorry to interrupt you there, but just to remind that.
This movie broke so many box office records at the time as well. I just want to point that out.
Oh Jesus.
It was amazing right from the get-go, and it's as you said. I do believe this one definitely holds up better than the first one. They did a lot of great things in this one. Sadly, 3 years later, it wasn't quite the same.
No.
So, this one... I get what they tried to do. Again, Sandman, they do kind of a similar... They try to do a similar thing with him. I just feel like he's almost, they bring his story along during the movie, but at the same time, I still feel like he's like just something off on the side that's happening. It's nothing that's really, obviously Venom is the big villain in this, and the whole Spider-Man, in his dark side, and that's very interesting bar scene. But I don't know. They definitely missed the mark on this
movie. I thought they had too much going on with Harry Osborn being the Hobgoblin stuff, and or whatever he was going to be, Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, whatever they were trying to get him to be. It wasn't. I don't know, man. It was too much, right? So they had too many villains happening. I liked the Sandman character. I like the fact that they tied it in to Uncle Ben's death, right? And they were trying to do all this stuff. I felt like it was a bad time to bring Venom into the fray, right? And have this. If they could have just did Sandman and maybe James Franco's character fighting.
Oh, definitely James. Well, James Franco was, right. I think, supposed to, his character anyway, sorry, right. Harry Osborn, I think was always supposed to be the main villain of this movie, which didn't end up happening, which is... No. I think where the biggest mark got missed.
Yeah, I agree. That's what they put too much, right? And the Venom I thought was too much because everyone expected Venom, and we got this. I love Topher Grace, man. I'm a huge supporter of Topher Grace, but it was bad casting, and
he's not really a bad guy, is he? He doesn't.
No, I mean he does a good job in a couple of movies that I've seen him in where he plays like a bad character. He does a good job in Predators where he plays like a serial killer. He does a good job of this type of villain, but that's the kind of villain he needs to play, is like that serial killer doctor type guy. Yeah. Where he's not muscle, because is it Tom Hardy, right? That does the new Venom.
Yes.
amazing, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
movie, the movie's a little weird, but he does a great job. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This movie is just it missed almost every mark. I struggled even putting it in the bad and not the awful mark. Only
Yeah.
reason why it's not there is because of how good Tobey Maguire is in that role and how good everybody else acted in it. I thought they did a good job acting, except for the horrible dialogue Topher Grace got. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not his fault. He's getting paid to do a job, right? So he's doing the best he can. But the rest of it's just is what it is. So I don't know how you feel about the movie. I kind of ranted about it. I'm pretty upset about that film. And Sam Raimi didn't have as much to do with that one as he did the first two.
Yeah.
That's probably why it failed as much. Is
Yeah.
because they didn't go with
I
Sam
think if
Raimi's
they would have
original.
focused more on Harry Osborn as the
Mm.
main antagonist in this movie and make him a true antagonist, I know they kind
Yeah.
of make up at the end or whatever. I definitely think this movie would have been better. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe we would have kept the Tobey Maguire show going, but
Yeah, you never know.
never know. Moving on, we get this The Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah.
which I loved. I mean,
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I love this first one. Gosh, Andrew Garfield. Jesus,
Andrew,
I don't know
yeah,
why I
sorry,
couldn't think of his name.
yeah, Garfield.
They talked about a lot how Tobey Maguire, was a relatable nerd and whatnot, but Andrew Garfield was just awesome to watch as
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't he wasn't just like a nerd. He felt, I don't know.
he was realistic for the time that it was in,
Yes.
right? So it was, the time that movie came out, and it was like, it was just, he felt perfect for that timeline, and it was like that kind of nerd, right? Where he's kind of like this not dorky nerd, but he's like a kind of like a cool nerd, right? And techie, and he's kind of, I don't know how to word, not suave, but he's got like this thing to him, right? He's not like your old school cliche nerd, so it's cool. Yeah, I
So
loved him, and I loved his Spider-Man. His take and his portrayal of Spider-Man is my favorite version of Spider-Man of the four that we have up here.
mm-hmm.
Especially of the Peter Parker version of him, he's my favorite. I don't think we talked about this before. Is there's not. Oh, I love them all, but his more like shit talky, joking around with the bad guys.
Yeah,
I love.
which is that's an actual Spider-Man comic thing, which
Yeah.
is something they they did there was they put some jokes in, but they weren't as good as what
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield was given, at least for screenplay lines.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Mark Webb did the directing of this film, and I loved it. I loved the flow of the film very much.
Yeah.
They obviously they still went over the whole Uncle Ben thing.
Yep.
Which I know a lot of people at the time felt like it was unneeded, but at the same time, this is a new story. You got to know how it plays out, So,
Yeah.
it was still great. Again, this, came out in 2012. They obviously played a little bit more with CGI, bringing that in. It still looks great. Obviously not to maybe 2020 standards, but
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, because you had
I still love the shots of it's almost hard to watching Spider-Man go through New York City slinging his webs is always going to be amazing to watch. So,
yeah.
but the follow cams on that stuff and whatnot was great. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know, man. I like the flow of the movie. I liked his costume. I like a lot of it. The villain in that we'll get to was great. Was it Emma Stone?
Emma Stone. God, I love Emma Stone.
Right. So yeah, I thought she did a great job as Gwen Stacy, which was different from everything else, being Mary Jane, right? So you don't have this same.
Yeah.
It was a little different feel to everything else.
Yep.
I liked it a lot, man. I liked the different feel of the whole aspect of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I have it as good. I struggled with where to put it.
I think the Amazing Spider-Man should be amazing.
You want to put it as amazing? Yeah, I'm okay. That's where I was struggling to put it amazing or good. So yeah. I got no problem with you.
Got no problems with that. That's good.
So how old were you when this one came out?
So 2012, I'm 14.
So we were roughly almost this flip flop, right? The ages.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like 16 when to where it came. So I mean, I get where that feel comes in a little bit.
Sadly, my parents were terrible at taking me to the movies. I did not see this one in the theaters. I saw this one shortly after it came out, though, to rent, to DVD, whatever. The next movie is the first Spider-Man movie I saw in theaters. But yeah, I love it nonetheless. Again, as we talked about, Emma Stone did great as Gwen Stacy. The casting was not bad. We could get into Kurt Connors a little bit. I mean, again,
we're gonna
a lot of relatable, just back, good guys turn bad. The story keeps evolving. They keep trying to pull that.
Yeah, and Dane DeHaan, right? Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn. Is not a very well known actor, I guess. He does some small stuff. He's in a few things that I like. He did the Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets, right, or whatever that is. That's probably one of the bigger movies he did. He did his movie called Chronicle. I really enjoy. But I thought he did a pretty good job of Harry Osborn. But
yeah. Okay, so we got that one right. Let's go on to Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 2. Man.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you have a bad movie, they just cut you as Spider-Man.
Yeah, man.
No matter how good you were before. And again, this has nothing against Andrew Garfield or really the cast. Well, this is probably one of Jamie Foxx's worst performances ever, but that's not even really Jamie Foxx's problem. I just don't feel like that. We'll get into I think his name is Electro. Yeah, Electro, which is played by Jamie Foxx, and
yeah,
Jamie Foxx is supposed to be an absolute badass, and he is. He's an absolute badass in real life. He plays absolute badasses in other movies and are amazing in them.
Yeah.
He is not meant to be an electrical engineer.
Yeah, and not only he could be an electrical engineer, but this guy is like nerdy with like a messed up facial feature type guy and like lisp, right? And like weird and goofy. Jamie Foxx is like a ridiculously handsome gentleman and like really great charisma, and it's fucking Jamie Foxx, man. Like I've never seen Jamie Foxx.
They either miscast or they fucking got Jamie Foxx somehow and did not write around him. They should have. As soon as Jamie Foxx was like, "Yeah, I'll play Electro," they should have. Hey, we gotta fucking write this shit because Jamie Foxx is not playing this motherfucker.
No, we gotta fix this character and the way he's supposed to look and have Jamie Foxx be Jamie Foxx.
They did not do that.
No, they didn't, dude. I mean, but this movie had some good aspects to it. The CGI I thought was really good, right? Him as Electro looked cool.
Yeah.
There was some fights in it that were really fun. Spoiler alert, right? Big spoiler alert. If you've never seen this movie, I don't feel bad because it's super old now.
14?
Not super old. Okay, it's like 6-7 years old, but I don't feel bad.
Yeah, 2014, 7 years.
They killed off a Superman character at the end of it by him trying to save Gwen Stacy and then pretty much killing her at the same time. Was like heartbreaking, right?
It was. I didn't believe it. I'll be honest. I did not believe this at first when they killed her off, and
I had goosebumps, dude. I seen when we went and seen it in theaters. I had fucking goosebumps because
And
I was like, "There's just no way, man!" Like I was like, "Holy shit, they fucking killed her."
fucking Emma Stone deserves better. Oh man, and I know they had, looking into it at the time, I know they had intentions of still making an Amazing Spider-Man 3
Yeah.
with the Sinister Six, which is like Spider-Man's, biggest threat is, their team of supervillains, which is basically made up of Spider-Man's, strongest foes or whatever you want to say. And they were setting it up to be pretty good, I think. We saw
Rhino came in.
Iron Rhino,
just the Rhino. They put him in a mechanical suit, right? So it's different from the cartoon Rhino.
Well, sure, they want more realistic, which I was still fine with. And they, obviously there were other, intentions you could see. You could, if you know who the Sinister Six are, you could point out like here they're. They go. I think they go down. Is in Osborn's tower. I think they go down and they see. Basically, we get a glimpse of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, yes. Which, I mean, I would still love. There still hasn't been a Sinister Six movie. The newest Spider-Man is supposed to.
It was supposed to be Doc Ock, Mysterio, Sandman, Vulture, Scorpion, and Kraven the Hunter. It was supposed to be their Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Which would have been
yeah,
fucking amazing to see happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on. Heartbroken as always.
Very. We got it out of, if anybody has, for people that are into video games, the newest Spider-Man movie does, I think, a great job of the Sinister Six. Whether you want to play through that or watch that playthrough, I recommend it if you want to get some Sinister Six vibes through, because it was amazing. I love that game movie. I never played it. I just.
Oh, you never play it?
No, I just.
It's one of the best games I've ever played.
I just watched the entire playthrough, which.
Yeah, it's great.
A lot of my time. Anyways, bad, average.
Oh, I have it as average. But I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
there were a lot of I think there was more good things in this movie than it was in Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
I think it just gets above. It is definitely above Spider-Man 3, but I feel like maybe there's another gap here in between the first one and.
Yeah.
We can just do this too. I don't know. It could be. I mean.
Yeah. I mean.
Let's get going with these last three and we'll figure it out. So, on to our next one, obviously. Spider-Man 2017 Homecoming. Man, they did a really good job at like pumping these Spider-Man movies out like almost every other year or every 3 years, even though they're not all continuity.
Well, the best thing about this Homecoming one was so great, right? Because Sony was finally able to be like, okay, fine, here, have the rights to make your version of Spider-Man, right?
Rent the rights from us.
Rent, of course, right? I mean, Sony's not that dumb, right?
Yeah, obviously not. I mean, Spider-Man's worth
millions, dude. They make hundreds of millions of dollars.
A ton of fucking money.
Yeah, they hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, and Homecoming was, I was a little not as pumped as other people were because I was kind of like, I was still kind of upset about Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 3 not happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh great, we go fuck another Spider-Man. And
yeah, especially with how far they got into the process of making Amazing Spider-Man 3. Obviously, there wasn't no like shoots or cast calls, but the writing, obviously we've now at this point in time we've gotten a glimpse into, if you look it up, you could find some things that Mark Webb and the writers of those movies were getting into that just make you really wish there was Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get on to Tom Holland. They casted him, I think at the time, when he first appeared in Civil War, right? 2015,
yeah, Civil War, yeah.
Which was like, what, 2015? Holland was like...
Yeah.
How old was Holland? 'Cause he's like our age, right? My age. Not our age.
Your age, yeah.
Your age. Dude, he was an actual teenager, so I think that was really cool. Obviously, hearing that, I was, at the time, I can remember I was a little iffy on it, with it being a teenager, in the terms of, major films, anyways, unproven. But that being said, and knowing what we know now, that's long and far away from what Tom Holland is. He is definitely a great actor, and
he's this movie, man. It blew away all my expectations as far as what I expected out of a Spider-Man movie. Tom Holland crushes every aspect. I love that he was in Civil War first, and then they built in this like Tony Stark father figure type thing where he's searching for a dad, right? And it's like, and then he's kind of has this aspect. So I love that whole portrayal in this film, and he's like wanting to help and he can't help because he's being told not to help, and he's fucking stronger than everybody else, right? So so it's got to be frustrating, especially like you remember being a kid and like having all these emotions and feelings, but imagine being completely badass and not being able to do anything about it. And that's where he's at. And I thought that they just crushed it with the storyline. We'll get to the villain with Vulture and how amazing Keaton was in the story of that. Once again, good guy gone bad.
Always.
Always.
It's one thing about Spider-Man movies. They start a character that you do not know who he is, and he seems like a good guy. You can count your blessings. He's going to be the villain.
He's going to be the bad guy, except for Carnage. Carnage is the only one that's never been a good guy. But anyway, he's not in the movie yet. I think we're going to get him, right? And not the Spider-Man. Venom, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
forgot who he's
this
supposed
movie
to be played by.
Huh?
Never forget
Woody
about
Harrelson.
it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird, dude.
It is gonna be weird. I think it'll be great though. He was weird at the end of Venom, man. That was for sure.
It's weird. But anyway, this movie was just, I loved every minute of it, man. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. What a Spider-Man. It reminded me of that original one, of Tobey Maguire. It reminded me of being young again and like watching it, and that had that enjoyment of like this fun Spider-Man. So I enjoy this movie.
What do you got this?
I have it as amazing.
I would agree with you 100%.
The other one.
Oh yeah. You could have told me it was out of order.
It's pretty small. I'm on my phone, dude. It's tiny. I can't see it as well. I should put it on my computer one of these days.
One of these days. So that was Spider-Man Homecoming. Now we get into Far From Home. You want to talk about Far From Home?
Oh, man.
I'm surprised they're making a third movie. No, I'm joking. It wasn't that bad. It was not nearly as bad as Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 2. But again, I feel like the best movie was the first one. I mean, I guess, or before this one, obviously. Man.
I don't know, man. I had really high hopes for this film once I found out that Mysterio was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And really even more high hopes when Jake Gyllenhaal was playing Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of shocked at first that that's who was playing it, but then I was like, all right, cool. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. This is going to be fun.
For sure. Dude plays some crazy
Yeah, he's all over the place, man.
He is all over the place, and he
Yeah,
is amazing all over the place. So,
yeah, it's great. And he didn't do a bad job. I'm not blaming him at all for what it was.
no,
I
and
just
this is still a
didn't like
great movie. It's just,
I didn't like the direction of the film really at all. So that's just it is just what it is.
you didn't like
for some reason
the
it felt
fact that it
flat for me.
was like fake, or you didn't like the.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the villains, on our next list a little bit more, but I just didn't like the whole movie in general for the most part. I didn't like a lot of the side stuff with him and MJ, and a lot of it was weird. And I don't know, man. I felt really flat with this film. I don't know. I was bored. Pretty much the whole movie, I was bored.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, and it just was weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was superhero fatigue at this point in this movie's out, and then because I felt this way about a lot of, so I don't know if it's the fault of this film or if it's just because I didn't like Captain Marvel. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the other films that have come out since, like a lot of the late 2000 teen superhero films, and yeah, of course, like Infinity War and Endgame, they're good, but I mean, I still don't. I'm kind of like meh. So it just is what it is when it comes to a lot of these.
You think it's the MCU doing that to it? Like knowing.
No, I think it's just blatant superhero fatigue. I'm just tired of fucking superheroes, dude.
Okay.
I'm just tired of all of
Tired
the Batman stuff and the DC and the MCU.
You can never get enough Batman.
I mean, dude, and I love Batman, but let's take a break from all of it. Take some time out, because we're not, right? Because now there's a new Blade being made, and there's all this other stuff happening, and it's not going to stop for a while. And
it won't.
And I don't know, man. So that might be at fault. The movie's not a bad movie by any means. It's an average movie. So that's where I have it.
Especially in MCU standards, I would say.
Yeah.
Better than some of the Thors, but not as good as some of the Iron Mans. That's where we put it.
I was just gonna say that it's better than the first Thor.
First and second, definitely better than the second.
I think Dark World gets a bad rap, man.
I think it does too, but this
It's
will
still
be fun
not
when we
good.
do our MCU movies.
It's still not a good movie, but it's not a great movie by any means, or even really an average movie. It's just Anyways, yeah, it's average.
Ragnarok, so
It's average. And then now
I'm surprised. I mean, you could almost not have this on this list.
Yeah,
just because it's not realistic, but I still want to talk about it because it is one of my most favorite. For me, it's up there in best of the best. I don't know where it is for you.
I have it on best of the best right now.
You have it on best of the best. Yep. So, oh my gosh.
Everything about this movie is amazing.
You know what sucked about this movie probably the most? That 2 years prior, they put that little clip of the subway. See, it was very short. It was 10 seconds of it, and you just saw Miles Morales, you didn't know, you knew if you were a Spider-Man fan. It was Miles Morales just sitting there just on the subway and looked so good. Yeah. Oh my God. And this movie was...
It gives you everything. For people that don't know, Miles, this one it's CGI'd comic animation, right? So it's like all of the above. It's like really weird blend. It's got this comic book feel to it. He smacks against the wall and it has a little bubble.
The music is amazing. I love the comic book. Bringing the comic book to life.
So Miles Morales is great too, right? Because he's a mixture. Kid.
I know all the great things. It doesn't even have to do with the fact that this isn't even about Peter Parker.
Yeah, and he comes from a different area, and his Peter Parker gets killed. Oh my God! Right, and then he becomes the new Spider-Man. By a different spider, right? And his spider's got this, in this version, it's just this really wicked, cool, different power, right? But he's still Spider-Man's power, but and then this is like the multiverse. So there's all these other Spider-Mans coming to play. So you have all these really sweet, freaking awesome. Then you got like the Gwen Spider-Man, right, which is awesome. And then you have like the Nicolas Cage plays the noir Spider-Man, right? Fucking amazing. And then
Nicolas
John Mulaney
Cage
plays the Pig Spider-Man.
Oh my god!
Fantastic, man.
Great voice acting, great casting,
the
great
villains are
storyline,
fantastic.
great villains.
Dude, I can watch this movie
God.
anytime and be happy about it, and it's one of the best, man.
I got more Miles Morales pop figures than I do Peter Parker pop figures. I only have one Peter Parker pop figure.
Yeah,
and I have 3 Miles Moraleses.
Yeah,
I gotta show you a couple of them because they look fucking badass. But
people watch any of the Spider-Man films. You don't watch any of them. This is the one that is like the one to watch because it's awesome. It's heartbreaking because you watch Miles go through some really tragic shit, and then you get to see him grow as a kid and stuff because he's still a child, so it's like, and you still get to watch this young kid grow, and then having it be animated, you really get to see, you really get to keep this like kid figure, and not almost lose reality a little bit. So it's really and his suit, by the way, if we could figure out the suits when we do that black suit is fucking awesome.
His spray paint, his own design.
Yeah, his own design. That suit is fucking sick, man. So yeah, this movie, by the way, killer, best of the best outside of it. Yeah,
I love it. Definitely one of my all-time favorite animated movies, regardless topic. So that was probably the biggest 8 Spider-Man movies that have come out in the past 20 years. There's been TV shows and other stuff, but these are where all the hype are always around.
Yeah. They started.
Actually, I think Spider-Man 3 gets more hype than any other movie. Despite it being on the bottom of our list.
There's more debates and talk about.
Yeah. I'm sure people are going to, if anyone else, people will disagree, but that's where we have it. If I went back and I said I wanted to rewatch the originals, I would still watch 1, 2, and I would watch 3. I wouldn't keep it out because there's still some good stuff in there. Just gotta do a little more digging.
Yep.
So moving on, we're gonna talk about the villains from these movies.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are ugly. Anyways, let's start with the very first Green Goblin, aka the Green Power Ranger. So we are not talking about the history behind these characters or the comics of any of them. We are talking about what they do and what they represent in the movies that we, saw them in. These are all the movie characters. So.
Yeah. You have him as bad?
I have him as okay.
You have him as okay. That's where I have him as okay. I argued with it being bad just because of the green. You can't even insult the Green Power Ranger, dude, because the Green Power Ranger was fucking badass. No. This was bad, dude.
Black Power Ranger all the way.
Whoa. The armored gold suit, dude. Anyway, that's a different subject. But this suit was just, I felt like everything else they did in this movie was so great, and then this fucking guy pops out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? So it's just the plane thing he flew on, whatever you want to call it, the little jet thing.
Hoverboard.
That thing
type
was awesome, right?
Yeah,
that was cool, right? But his suit, mainly his mask, was just not good.
And it didn't make sense.
It was
better than this. Right? We'll get into it. Better than this. Both of these completely missed their marks, but I don't know. I just the feel of it I could almost argue it could be good just because of again William Dafoe and his portrayal of Mr. Osborn.
Oh, he's so good, dude.
It was
so
just
good.
amazing.
Yeah. All right. On to Dr. Otto Octavius, Doc Ock.
I don't think we gotta talk about that too much.
Yeah, best dude. He is what all villains are measured up to.
Should be anyways.
In my opinion, I know it's a little off subject, but out of all villains and almost any of the other MCU, the only one for me that holds up is like Thanos. I mean, he as far as like acting goes and like portrayal and like how great it was to the movie itself. Doc Ock was just like, for you people that might be a little younger or that haven't seen the other ones but have seen the newer MCUs, that's how good and that's how much Doc Ock was to this movie. I mean, he was just as good or just as influential as like what a Thanos type character was. He's just fucking amazing, man. Just
he was.
God, so good, dude.
Oh man, when you realize Spider-Man is Peter Parker though, and they're fighting in that building, man, it's like a switch. Oh, it was amazing to watch. Oh God, I gotta watch that movie again.
Yeah,
it just that little glimmer of brightness that's left in Dr. Octavius or whatever his name is, Octopus. I don't know what they call him.
Yeah, I know Octavius.
It's just
actor's name is Alfred Molina. If anybody knows who that is, he's in quite a few things, but yeah, he crushes it, dude. He crushes it.
So, I guess we have just Sandman.
Yeah, let's go to Sandman.
We don't have Harry Osborn in here, but
we don't put him in here, which is weird. I don't know why.
We got Venom, but we got Venom from Venom, not from Spider-Man 3. So, I mean, we could talk about this as if it was from Spider-Man 3 because we didn't.
Isn't that Spider-Man 3 Venom? I'm pretty sure that's Spider-Man 3's Venom.
I don't know, dude. You have to get a close up.
It doesn't matter. Venom's fucking Venom. It is what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna
do Sandman first.
Yeah, we'll do Sandman, but we'll also talk about Venom from Spider-Man 3. Yeah. So Sandman.
I have him as okay. I thought the portrayal was good. I can't remember the guy's name now to save my life. I had it here for a minute. Now I don't have it.
Yeah, I lost it too.
I liked it, dude. I thought he did a really good. I thought his performance was good. I didn't. Once it's another one of those things. We talked a little bit about touching it. There's just too many villains, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of got lost in the mix of everything else that was happening.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's going on here?
He was more just on the run, honestly.
Yeah. So it was just
the whole time.
It was rough, dude, to have him in there. I don't know. It was weird, man. It was weird. So I have him as okay.
Okay, let's get into Eddie Brock here. Edward Brock, whatever. Eddie Brock.
I don't.
So his character in Spider-Man 3, for people that don't know, is also a photographer that works for the Daily News. What is it called? I forget what Parker works for Jameson. Anyways, they're at odds. So not only is Spider-Man and Venom, at least later in the movie, fighting each other, so is Brock and Peter Parker. So it's very interesting, from that, you're almost fighting from two fronts, even though you don't even know it. At least Eddie Brock doesn't know it. He hates Peter Parker, but he also hates Spider-Man because of not being able to take a picture of him, I guess.
Yeah. Man, it's... I don't know. I'm just upset about everything about this character in this film. Because Venom is such in the comics, man, he's like an anti-hero for the most part. He only really hates Spider-Man. And like that's a lot of people that didn't read the comics or they only watch the films. They think Venom is just like a bad guy. He's not really a bad guy. He fights a lot of the other villains in the comics.
And I think even fights in the everyone. Gets in his,
Yeah.
he's almost like a Punisher, I'd say a little closer to the evil side. There are some very evil instances of him.
Sure. But even like, some of the older comic, when he first comes in, he doesn't even do a lot of evil shit. He just fucking wants to kill Spider-Man. That's like his one goal. It's like, I fucking hate Spider-Man. In this film, it like, I don't know, man. It just fell flat. It's just like, oh, look, it's Venom. The Black Spider-Man was a better evil Spider-Man than Venom was, I felt like.
Yeah, you could almost make that.
So,
what do you got this guy? Good, bad?
I got bad, dude.
Bad?
Yeah, that's right. It was bad.
So, getting into Amazing Spider-Man.
Lizard. Doc Connors.
Yeah. So he's... Sorry, I don't mean to put that anywhere yet. So we got... Literally, the Lizard. Dr. Curtis Connors. He's a giant lizard.
Giant lizard. Yeah, he tries to use lizard DNA to regrow his arm. He's only got one arm.
Yep.
So he tries to use, lizards, because lizards can, especially crocodiles, right? They can, they can regrow limbs and shit.
Yep.
So he tries to use lizard DNA to regrow his arm, but instead of doing that, he becomes a giant fucking crocodile lizard type character.
Yeah.
A giant lizard type.
And then he's like, I need more people. So he makes more lizard people.
Which is a weird plot, which is a weird kind of story thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. I liked it. The comic book feel of that was great, right? Because it was really comic booky, so I enjoyed it. Oh, yeah. I have him as good because I thought the portrayal was cool. I thought the CGI was good enough. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel that one thing Spider-Man movie villains really lack is the villain part.
I agree. Yeah.
While they're all bad guys, in their ways of, again, we talked about a lot of these Spider-Man movies that have, good guys going bad. They aren't evil to the core, like some of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we could get into the next guy.
Spider-Man Uno, right? That's both of these guys, aren't they?
Yeah, and then the Rhino weird guy.
Yeah, I guess technically he's in there.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about Jamie Foxx a bunch already, so where you got Jamie Foxx Electro?
I have it as okay.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, Electro's alter ego Maxwell definitely. I mean, I'm sure. I don't even know. Is he? I'm sure he's supposed to be a nerdy guy, which is why they had it the way he is. So I almost think it's just they needed somebody different. Jamie Foxx is an amazing actor, but they needed somebody different.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about this thing. I could just go there.
Yeah, the fucking weird Harry Osborn fucking Green Goblin character thing, fucking man, that they failed completely on. Yeah, that just goes right into bad, dude. We won't even talk about it.
I mean, honestly, it could just stay in the terrible.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with this, Dana. It just fucking failed on every point of it. That's why that movie just was weird. It was another movie trying to add too much shit.
Yep.
You didn't fucking need it. You just didn't need it. So
at least it wasn't, with like a Sinister Six type situation, at least it's like organized. Whereas like, why are you even here?
Yeah.
So, Rhino I thought was okay. I mean,
it was cool the 2 seconds he was in there.
Yeah, right. Obviously I think he was set up for something bigger, and again, Amazing Spider-Man 3 and eventually the Sinister Six. And maybe even, this Green Goblin was supposed to as well, but We'll never know.
I thought the suit was cool, dude. I thought it was a cool suit. I think it
Oh
was a
yeah,
guy that he bust him like earlier in the film or something like that in the beginning of the movie.
yeah, yep.
There's a guy who had busted, right? So
Yep.
he got out of jail and stole this got this
So
cool suit and with all this missile shit. And yeah, it was a cool like couple of minutes or whatever, where he fought him and then he hit him with a fucking manhole cover, right? So I mean, it was a
about
cool
to,
ending to
anyways.
the movie. So.
Yeah, it was especially with the picture they're using at the end of the movie. It was that scene because obviously Gwen Stacy had died. This
Yeah.
was Rhino's terrorizing the town. Spider-Man hadn't been seen in months or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden this guy's about to fuck shit up.
Kill some
Spider-Man
cops or
shows up.
something.
It was a really good moment. It was ended the movie off great. It was
And Paul Giamatti was playing Rhino, man. And Paul Giamatti is a fucking beast of an actor. So to have like this guy play this like really small role who's like an amazing actor was cool too. So
your dog snoring over there.
oh, snoring him, yeah, he's loud as shit, man.
Are we getting into Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Vulture, man.
Vulture.
I mean, you could put him in awesome. I have him in great.
You have him in great.
I have him in great. Michael Keaton is the Vulture, and
Michael Keaton's a great actor for sure.
That I liked the character, man. I liked the movie. I liked his
I liked
villain
the
stuff.
drive to Homecoming scene.
Yeah.
Them in the car, as they dropped
Yeah.
MJ or not MJ, whoever her name was off.
Yeah.
And then they had, what she probably thought was the talk, but it was definitely something totally different. It was a great scene. I loved it.
Yeah, amazing scene.
Again, Michael Keaton playing a great
Oh, God,
role.
Keaton, man.
Felt like his. That was weird. The only thing that got me a little sideways was his suit was weird.
Oh, really? See, I actually loved that they went like this mechanical type military type suit that he like kind of had it.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because the original Vulture was so fucking weird looking.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't feel like with like the time and having it make.
No, I don't think it was gonna look anything like that. I just felt like, I don't know, I felt a lot of Iron Man-esque, as did obviously Peter Parker's suit and stuff.
Yeah.
Every new villain is just a mini Iron Man at this point, or not villain, but yeah, anybody with tech, I mean, is just a lesser Iron Man. I feel like.
Yeah,
because we all know that technology is out there in at least this MCU verse. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyways, moving on. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah, Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, dude.
Mysterio.
Crying.
Rey Mysterio playing as Mysterio would have been amazing. Anyways.
I would have sold 1 million tickets, dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
This one's tough because I felt like he did good. I'd put him in the good column. But I feel like if they made it real, like it wasn't this whole act, I feel like it would have been great, if not better.
Yeah. See, I struggled a lot with making this from good to okay to bad to back to good to back to okay, and like because of that problem. Because like I have a lot of like feelings with Mysterio going into this movie, right? From my childhood watching the cartoon with Mysterio being such a hardcore villain for Peter Parker, and like using, like a quote like magic to beat him, and then coming into like this weird virtual tech type stuff and like to stop him that way. I thought it was a cool concept. I just didn't like it for what I wanted my Mysterio to be, and it's not my fault. It is my fault that I'm picky when it comes to it. But I mean, like, Mysterio was so badass, dude, that he had once, in one of the comic book threads lines, one of their weird alternate realities, he had once messed up Wolverine so bad that Wolverine killed all of the X-Men. I mean, like, that's how fucking awesome Mysterio is. And you change him to, like, this weird tech character. So it's kind of weird. So it kind of fell flat for me. But once again, Jake Gyllenhaal fucking crushes everything he does. Saved that role. So, and then the CGI was amazing, right? So that helps.
Yeah.
So good's fine with me. I'm okay with good.
Yeah.
Just because of how good they were at the role, and then it was a fine, flushed out character with their plot and stuff like that. So I'm okay with that.
So, moving on, Miss Octavius, not married to Dr. Octavius, just the sex flip version, right? Whatever it's called.
Yeah, gender change. Yeah.
Gender swap. That's what we're going to. Sex flip. What? Anyways, I make up my own fucking words all the time. So, another amazing thing about Into the Spider-Verse is you can really feel that these guys are evil.
Yeah.
She is no holds bar, is for sure. Like when she catches Peter Parker in her office and then like nonchalantly starts picking him apart basically.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Dude. I love it. Oh,
and then she's so great. Catherine Hahn is who does her voice. She was in Parks and Rec a few times and a bunch of other stuff, dude. She was great, dude, right? She's amazing. Her voice acting is fantastic, right? So yeah, dude, just great character, man. Really fun.
And then we got Kingpin, baby.
Kingpin, dude. Okay, villain that was not really ever good.
Definitely not good. Oh, he's doing it to get his family back. Fuck that shit. Dude, I love the best part about this this being an animation is being able to do whatever the hell you want and making him this giant motherfucker.
Well, he was giant in the comics. That's what I love.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying with being able
so
animations
great,
being able to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
I loved it. And then Liev Schreiber doing his voice was even better, right? Because
you know what's sad? He's not even as great as this is. He's not my favorite Kingpin.
No, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh my god! If you haven't seen I won't even give anything away, but Daredevil on Netflix.
Daredevil on Netflix.
Vincent plays one of the best villains you've he'd be up here in awesome. He's up here with
he would blow it all away. Yeah, he's up there. He's amazing, dude.
So I think this one is great.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have it pretty much the same because they both that movie itself and then with them in it. When you talked about with it being animated, you have such this comic book feel to it, and you feel so. I don't know, man. You just get this like youth kid vibe for me, watching it. It was just so fun to see these characters, and once again, the voice acting in this, all of it from head to toe was just amazing. All the characters were great. So, yeah, it's amazing stuff, man.
These were some great and some not so great. Villains.
It's a fun list to do though, man, because it's fun to look back and like remember how good they were and then how not so good they were.
And who knows? Again, I haven't seen some of these movies I haven't seen in years, so you could maybe move them because I barely even remember this guy, to be honest. Other than he looks very creepy and scary.
Spider-Man 2. I watched it a couple years ago, and it's one of those things, man. I felt like it was a character development that they needed to do. They could have just left him Harry Osborn.
Mm-hmm.
And if they made a Spider-Man 3, you can maybe get to that point where he starts turning into like a Green Goblin type character. Or maybe even in 2, you have him start to develop this psycho-ness where he's like talking to himself and shit. Yeah. But like not so fast. Like they introduce him, and then by the end of the film, he's a fucking psychopath, and he's like wanting to fucking kill everything. And it's like, dude, what the hell? Like, it was such a fast development, and it was like you already had one, so now you have 2. two people like within an instant are like good kind of good guys to like psychos, and it was too much.
Yeah.
It was too much going in. So yeah, but the rest of it, I mean, once again, man, Alfred Molina is Doc Ock, just takes the cake, man. Just
Yep.
so good, dude. Yeah, it was a fun list, man.
Yeah, fun couple lists. If you agree or disagree, let us know in the comics. This is our films list, and this is our villains list. We'll probably be doing more of these. I like doing these tiers lists, man. I think they're fun to do. Pretty easy to talk about. Gives a good visual for you, either listeners or watchers. So next week, well, actually, you'll see us next Monday, right? Doing I'm gonna butcher it on. It starts with an O, right? F1. They're racing. Vroom vroom. Let's go, boys.
Yeah.
You'll see us there Monday. We'll catch you.
Yeah.
Eloise, got anything to say?
No, man, I think that was it, dude. These are fun lists, dude. Like I said, I agree, man. I think there's a ton of these lists that we can do that we both can have fun talking about. So there's so many different things out there. And then next week we got some fucking Formula Ones back, man. So I'm
my God.
happy.
Who the hell goes on vacation for 3 weeks after starting the season?
Yeah, so finally we get it's Italy this weekend, right? Yeah.
That's all right. NASCAR used to do the same thing. They used to do 2 weeks, do the Daytona, and then do another race, and then have a race off, have a weekend off, and then like 4 weeks later have Easter off. So I was like, why?
Yeah,
but
dude.
F1's is built a little different, so we'll get into it.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yep. Talk to you guys later.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.